we often talk about, and particularly for first home buyers, do I buy shares? Should I buy a property? Should I buy a home? Do I buy both? Where do I go? And in fact, I know it's the same thing you and I talk about all the time for ourselves. What's the number one sort of reason why you say to people, look, have both, but you like property more?
Well, I think if you look at the longer term things, people have made money on both.
Yep.
So we're not going to sit here and try and tell you, don't go into shares. That's not what we're trying to say. But what we want to try and give you some advice on is why property.
Okay. And if we talk about the size of the market, how does that, I guess, Australian shares compare to Australian real estate?
Well, that's one of the key things. When you're looking at the size of the property market, we're talking a $9 trillion market.
Yep.
Now, relative to the stock market, 1 trillion.
Okay, so residential homes are 9 times as valuable as the Australian share market.
And I'm talking residential. We haven't even taken into account commercial, retail, purely residential, and that's what we're talking to our first homeowners. Getting into a home, you're buying into a $9 trillion market relative to stock, which is about 1 trillion.
Okay, so when we think of our big Aussie companies, the banks, BHP, and so forth, you add all of the value together, us collectively homeowners around the countryside are 9 times as valuable.
As valuable.
Okay.
Now, there's another few key things as well. When you look at the volatility, and that's what I also want to push to our first homeowners. Yes, get into the shares, buy stuff like that, but you've got to be very careful. The volatility of the stock market over time has shown to be far more severe than in property.
Yeah. And I mean, it's something interesting that we sort of talk about, and I touched on before, control and people feeling about it. That's one of the main reasons why people love real estate and owning a home over shares.
Well, with a home, you've literally got something. You've got brick and mortar. You can go. You can live in it. Stock market, you're investing in BHPs and stuff. You've got a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And you can't kind of walk into the NAB's head office and say, "Hi, I'm one of your shareholders. Change this, do that." Can you?
So when you've got a property, you've got control.
Yeah.
So if you decide you want to live in it, or you decide you want to sell it, or you decide you want to rent it out, you've got the control. So you're taking back the control.
Yep.
And that I think that's a major factor in everything.
Yeah. Look, and I think for all of you listening, it's one of those things. Warren Buffett always talks about it, that he only ever invests in companies that he understands and he knows the product. He's famous for Coca-Cola, Gillette razors, and so forth. And I think that's the same sort of foundation that we talk about with owning a home. It's something that we all know. We all have to live somewhere. We might live in the home. It might be an investment, but something we know. But, buying shares, maybe we think we know the banks, but, you buy some of these miners that are exploring. What do you know about it? It's hard.
You're competing against people that are working with algorithms and computers. Whereas when you're buying a property, you're buying something real. You're not competing against people staring at a screen with an algorithm that says sell, buy, sell, buy.
Yeah.
So it is a very tricky market, and as I say, in terms of fluctuations and stability over time, property is definitely less risky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, and I think that's an interesting one. We're in this day and age with information, we all want to know straight away what's happening, and that can be great with shares because you can say I made money today, but you can also say I lost money today. Yeah. And for people that perhaps are more highly strung, like you, Greg, it doesn't do too well for you saying, "Oh, I made money today." You're happy, and then you've got the low of I lost money today. Whereas a home, you don't check its value every day; it just goes up.
The thing as well, what we've always said about property is time in the market, whereas shares are probably just in and out, in and out, in and out. With a property, you also have the ability to leverage against the property. So if I actually explain what leveraging is, as we've seen in the market in the last year, the property values have gone up.
Yep.
Now you can then use the equity, so the extra value that you've now got, to get some additional money out of that to either invest in another property, which I think is a better idea, or take a small portion of it and invest in shares or something like that you can play with. So with shares, you don't have the ability to leverage. So you've got another asset to leverage off.
Now, last question. We were talking about your kids. They're all, you know, either just bought their first home or looking to buy their first home. You know, shares are easy to some degree because they say, you know, Dad, I only need $100 and I can buy some shares and that can go up and so forth. But you gave me a really good sort of different viewpoint that perhaps some of our listeners might like to know what you sort of said or you've seen your kids doing.
Well, what will happen is, because I've got young children, or, you know, from teenagers to in the mid-20s, they can be a bit fickle. So they see, I've made money, take that money, go and blow it, have a great time. So now whatever they've gained, they've lost.
Yeah.
Whereas if they buy a property, it almost forces them to go, well, now I can't just go and sell the home and go and have a party.
Yeah.
It's for saving and gives them that long-term asset that I'm trying to instill in them.
Yeah. So look, that's great advice, particularly for those of you out there that don't like budgeting. You know, if you hear what Greg is saying, is that whilst it might be nice, the fact that you can sell shares and you can get that money in a couple of days' time, with that easy access to money comes easy way to spend. I'm a victim. I've done it myself. You know, I've had something there and I thought, oh yeah, I want to go on a big surfing trip and it was going to cost me for the boat and everything. What did I do? I sold the shares. I went on the trip and I had a great time. Don't get me wrong, but perhaps that may have not have been the best decision. And it's just having that property that you say that's an asset that will just keep going and going and going up.
So, you know, in summary, I said, James, get a combination, but focus on property. That's my advice.
All right, good. All right, Greg. Well, it was quick. It was good. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you back next week.